Hi everyone, this is Charmander, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the best range rally combinations available in this game, and I will also be providing my logic as well as rankings for each of these individual range rally pairs. Now, if you don't know what a range rally is, or rally in general, basically rally could be as simple as, let's say, for example, you are attacking someone else's tower and you want to rally them with your troops. Rallying can also include attacking hives, as well as if you are doing alliance events such as the Antipede Hunt. So those would be some examples of rallying. And finally, another example of rallying is something called counter rally, when you are rallying somebody that is rallying. So with that being said, let's start off with the classic rally combination in this game, which is going to be Julia and Lewis together. I do think that this rally combination is still viable to this day. It is no longer the best rally combination in the game, but I would say it could be a decent second or third in the lineup of potential best rallies available. So if you only have Julia and Lewis together, you are still viable as a rally captain. You might not be the best if someone has a better rally captain combination, but you are still definitely able to contribute when it comes to rallying the enemies. This is especially true for events such as Genesis War, when your alliance needs multiple rally captains to rally the science hub, the defense stations, and towers. So what's so good about the Julia and Lewis combination? The biggest reason that Julia and Lewis together is so good is how fast they regenerate rage. Lewis's 4th skill, Sonata of Sorrow, recovers rage by 25 when using basic attacks. And for Julia, when she uses her skill damage, it restores 120 rage to the squad. This is really powerful as a combination because you are going to be cranking out skill damage after skill damage after skill damage as a result of having a lot of rage regeneration. Another combination that makes them so good is also their range squad attack. So as you can see with Lewis, you get 30% range squad attack, and with Julia, you get 20% increase in range squad attack. So that is a 50% increase in range squad attack, and that is fairly respectable in my opinion. On top of that, Julia does 17% increase in skill damage dealt, and if you combine that with Lewis's 30% increase in skill damage, that is a total of 47% increase in skill damage combined, and that is quite strong when you have these two paired up together. In my opinion nowadays though, even though I don't think it's no longer the best for rallying the opponent specifically, it is still the best for the purpose of doing counter rally. So if the opposing team is rallying your tower or defensive structure and you need to send a counter rally, the Julia Lewis combination is still the strongest for the purpose of counter rally specifically. It is also the best combination if you are doing Antipede and you want to get as high score as possible. I have tested this out myself, trying different rally combination, and Julia and Lewis is still the strongest for that specific event. The next rally combination, and hands down the best current range rally combination in the game, is going to be a combination of Julia and Bard together. The reason why is because if you look at Julia, when she fires her skill damage, it will silence the enemy. Besides the fact that silence is already a very strong debuff to begin with, when paired up with Bard, if enemy is inflicted with silence, increases basic attack damage dealt to them by 21%. So as you can see, Bard benefits a lot for enemies that get silenced. Julia also helps the pair because when she fires her skill damage, it restores 120 rage to the squad. And this is really good because Bard, if you look at all his skills combined together, which includes the increase in range squad attack, as well as the 54% increase in skill damage dealt to garrison squads, Bard's skill damage actually deals over 31,000 skill damage, which is ridiculous. This is not including the armaments and workshop in Beast, as well as Julia's 17% increase in skill damage dealt. This makes Bard an extremely insane damage dealer when it comes to sieging an opponent. This is why hands down Julia and Bard is still the best range rally combination in this game. However, you do need to do your best to transcend Bard's super weapon for you to reap the benefits of that. At the very least, in my opinion, 3 out of 4 of the super weapon must be leveled up, and 3 of the 5 skills that he has must be transcended for you to reap the benefits of what I am explaining right now in this video. On top of that, when you add both Julia and Bard together, their total range squad attack is a whopping 58% increase. They also have combined together with Julia's 40% range squad HP as well as Bard's 25%, then you have a total of 65% increase in range squad HP. As well, if you put together the range squad defenses, Bard gets 30% increase in range squad defense, and Julia gets 20% for a total of 50% increase in range squad defense. So as you can see, they are quite tanky together. So even though you are doing the purpose of rallying, you are still being defensive at the same time when the enemy is going to try to counter rally you or try to swarm you, or if the garrison is trying to attack you back. Another thing that most people forget is that Bard has an insane crowd control with his AoE damage. So as you can see, when fully transcended, he can hit up to 4 enemies with a damage factor starting at 15,000. The damage taken by each enemy target reduces by 10%. This means roughly the first damage is going to be 15,000, second will be 13,500, then 12,000, and then 10,500. But this is without the buff that I was mentioning earlier. If you include the other buffs, then really the first damage is 31,000 plus, and then the second one is slightly lower than that, along with the third and the fourth. So as you can see, this is an insane amount of damage. And as a matter of fact, I love this combination so much because when we are fighting whales and they try to swarm me or they try to go near the tower that I am rallying, they're gonna get hurt really bad if they hang around that tower. So they're forced to move away. I've actually fought alliances in the past with whale players, and it was so funny that they actually had to go home to refresh their troops because they got beaten up by Bard's AoE. So this is also really good to kind of help deter whales or players that is hanging around your rally. The next combination that I think is good, specifically for a certain kind of player, is Sophie and Julia together. So the kind of player this is going to be good at is for players that is range field focused. So this range player likes to fight in the field more than doing rallying, but once in a while the alliance calls them, hey, you know what? We need you to help us with rally because it's Genesis War and we don't have enough rally captains. So this combination is good because Sophie only needs 900 rage to fire her skill, and when Julia fires her skill, there's 120 rage that gets regenerated right away. There's also silence, which obviously helps a lot, and the range squad HP stacks together, which is really nice. So as you can see, Julia gets 40% increase in range squad HP, which you can stack with Sophie's 32% in range squad HP for a grand total of a disgusting 72% increase in range squad HP for both of them. Sophie also increases skill damage taken by the enemy by 20%, and Sophie has that 5.5% increase in range squad damage reduction, making this a fairly tanky combination. So what's so good about this is if you are a field focused range hero, but you are asked to do rally, but you don't want to invest in Bard, then you can simply just put together Sophie and Julia, who is the best field range pair in the game currently, and they would still do pretty good in the role of doing rallying. The only downside is that some of Sophie's skills, such as shoulder ride, where it increases the attack by 32% when not rallying, will not be beneficial for you in this combination when you are rallying the enemy. So you don't have the full benefit of Sophie's skill when you are rallying the enemy if you pair her up with Julia or any other heroes when you are rallying opponents. This is why, compared to the Julia Lewis, who I put as an A tier when it comes to rallying, or Julia Bard, that is S tier, I would say this combination is more of a B tier as a result. The next combination is also very interesting but very expensive, and that is a combination of a transcended Ethan. So that means his super weapon must be nearly maxed out, if not maxed out already, with his skills fully transcended or nearly fully transcended. Same goes for Bard. His super weapon needs to be either fully transcended or 3 out of 4 of his super weapon to be complete and 3 out of 5 of his skills transcended in order for this to be viable. So basically you would use them together because the whole idea here is that after you use both heroes together to rally, they become the garrison automatically. This is perfect for events such as Genesis War, where if you take over the science hub, then you need to garrison it right after. One major highlight that it has is that if you combine Bard's 38% increase in range squad attack along with Ethan's 42% increase in range squad attack, you have a disgusting 80% increase in range squad attack. The next few abilities is only viable if both Ethan and Bard are transcended, otherwise those skills will not kick in. So those skills are Ethan's 43% increase in range squad HP and Ethan's 45% increase in range squad defense. So if you pair that, so if those skills are transcended, then they would pair up nicely with Bard's 25% increase in range squad HP and Bard's 30% increase in range squad defense. So in total, you'll have 75% increase in range squad defense, which is disgusting, and 68% increase in range squad HP, again, which is very disgusting, making this a very good pair, assuming both heroes are nearly fully transcended. Don't forget that both Bard and Ethan have AoE skills, so it's hard for enemies to swarm you if you are doing a rally because the AoE will hurt them very bad. I would actually give this combination a B, but if you use this combination in events like Genesis War, then it's closer to A rank because of that automatic transition to Garrison right after. And the final combination, which is a lesser version of the Ethan and Bard combination, would be Ethan and Lewis. So Ethan and Lewis together will have a range squad attack attack of a total of 72%, which is ridiculously high if you think about it. Lewis also makes up for the lack of the other attributes with his rage regeneration of 25, allowing this pair to generate a lot of rage in order for you to hurt the enemies and deal more damage. And as mentioned earlier, the purpose of this is the same as Ethan and Bard, where after you defeat the garrison, then you become automatically the new garrison. So this is only viable for events such as Genesis War or maybe Archipelago Raid if you're taking over the gates, where you need to garrison right after you finish a rally. Again, this is the lesser version of the Ethan Bard combo, so I can't give this quite a high rank. I would say this is more of a C+ combination as opposed to B or higher. So that's about it for this video on all the different viable range rally combination in this game that is effective in my opinion, depending also on the situation that you are in. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.